We've had several people ask how to color synthetic dreadlocks. Typically, I would tell you that it can't be done, but today I'm going to show you how to do it by staining your dreads with alcohol ink. This ink is considered permanent. It can wash out and fade over time, but it has to be pretty aggressive to wash it out. You're going to take your alcohol ink, in our case we're using an Adirondack ink by Tim Holtz, and you're going to mix it with alcohol. The higher the alcohol, the better this will work. We have 50% rubbing alcohol, but a better example would be to use like a 70%, because when you have a 50, that means it's half water. So it just takes a little bit longer to dry, so your working time you have to be a little bit slower. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to use our alcohol and our ink and mix them together in spray bottles. We're using about 30 drops of our color to about this much alcohol. We're just gonna mix in small batches and use it as we go, so that way we don't use too much of it and then need to change our color later. We're going to put on our gloves. And before we do anything, we're going to test the color to make sure that it's the right color that we want. So I'm going to use this color, which is called Mermaid. I like that color a lot. And I'm going to test our color by spraying it onto a white piece of paper. This is actually a Sanex strip because it was the closest thing I had in the salon. And that's the color that it's coming out. Now if we wanted it to be darker, we could add more pigment to our alcohol, or if we wanted it to be lighter, then we could dilute it down with more alcohol. So always test it first. Be sure to wear gloves and make sure that you don't get this on anything. This is basically the equivalent of spraying with a Sharpie. So you wanna make sure you're not getting it on your things. So for our piece, I'm going to leave the base blonde and just saturate our ends to give it kind of a, an ombre effect. So I'm going to pull out all of my blonde dreads if I can find them all. No reason to saturate the black ones, since the black will stay black. This pigment is translucent, so it will basically take a color that's lighter and stain down, but it won't really do much for dark colors. Okay, so I'm just going to lay this out. Make sure that you get this into kind of a single layer. If you're doing this and you want to get a really fast application, you can always take this same ink and put it into a bowl and then just dip everything in. But since I'm going to try for more of a gradient up to the top, I'm going to spray the ends and then more lightly mist the upper sections. And we're going to flip this over and do it on the other side. And at this point, I'm just gonna kind of roll this in a little bit to kind of saturate it. I'm not going to roll in at the upper part, just on the ends, because that's where I want my concentration to be. With these colors, sometimes it's easiest to work in layers and let it dry, and then you can see the color as it turns out, and then you can go back in and add more layers of your color. Because with one heavy coat, it may tend to drip and you may not get the color concentration that you want. So I'm just gonna let this dry, and then we're going to flip it and do the other side. Continue to spritz on the underside of your dread to make sure that the color matches the top side. This completes our finished piece. It's dry and ready to wear. By using alcohol inks, you open up infinite dreadlock color choices.